to the stage of history. I am your illustrious host, Kevin Uncanny Anytime. Welcome, y'all. It is the middle of the week, whatever that means. And as I continue to dive into ideas such as that, like, these concepts and constructs that we have created for ourselves, I really wanted to dive into this to maybe change your perspective, to make you more daring, make you more dangerous, right? Make you more powerful out there in the marketplace, right? Um, the idea that I had for you today is failing, right? We've talked about this multiple times, but is it even a real thing? Is failing even real? Let's really think about that, because what is failing? What is it really? When we think about what failing is, it's like, okay, there was an attempt at something. So I'm playing basketball today and I'm shooting a lot of shots and I'm missing a lot of shots. Am I failing? Am I failing in those shots as I'm practicing? To me, that didn't make any sense. I'm like, well, wait a minute. No, I'm not failing because I'm practicing right now. So how could that be failing? Right? I'm like, wait a minute. Let's change the concept on this, because failing isn't even real. It's not even real. I really contemplated this as I was practicing over and over and over again. And I realized we may have to eliminate that out of the vocabulary, because as we go into attempts to reach greater heights and further our purposes, we need to let go of the fearful idea of looking a particular way or being embarrassed because of this word that we created and established as failure. Like, what does that even mean, man? What does failing even mean? If I'm practicing something, there is no failure in practice. You're practicing to get better. So okay, so then let's take it to the big stage, whatever that is for you. If we go into the big stage and we're like, okay, hey, we got to perform at the highest level. Even then, if you make an attempt and it doesn't perform to whatever standard is set before you, was that a failure? Was that a failure, or did you learn through that process? The attempt was not successful, and that's fine. That's a better way of looking at it. It's just that the attempt didn't produce the result that you were looking for, right? But as far as failing, it's like that word, I don't know, it's something about that word vibrationally, it's off. It's really off to me. I don't think I'm going to use it anymore. I don't really use it at all anyway. But there are certain ideas out there that I believe should totally change. I mean, language has changed so much. Think about it, y'all. We don't talk about the the dynamics of how we talk now, and we don't say thee and thou and yes and over yonder, and we don't we don't do none of that stuff anymore, simply because it's our language has changed. We have changed it. And again, that's another great, incredible, magnificent power that we all have. Now, there are some words that have been universal for quite some time. I don't think they're ever going to go away, which is why I named my son Cool. It's because I'm like, well, cool is always going to mean cool. Oh, that's cool. People say that all the time. I don't think that's ever going to go away. But hey, I could be wrong, because back in the 18th century, they probably was like, oh, that is smashtastic or something of that nature, right? And then that word just disappeared. I don't know what they were saying for great things at that point in time. Who knows? But I'm gonna look up some old 18th century words that meant good things like cool and stuff like that. But as we evolve in our intellect as humans, we evolved the language, right? We evolved our way of speaking, and even some of the slang that particular cultures have brought into uh, life is commonly used. Like a lot of people understand when somebody says, "Oh, that's my bad." But I mean, grammar wise, that makes zero sense, right? Oh, my bad. Like, you're bad. What does that even mean? How does that work? When you think about that, and we all grab onto that understanding of like, oh, yeah, okay, it's his bad. What? What? That's the power we have, y'all. This is the stuff that I want to bring to y'all attention, man. These are the deep thoughts that I have. And I believe that it's very important to wrap your mind around these mindset things, because that's going to change your perspective on how you proceed through your journey of life, right? And I've also mentioned this before. Me and my cousin and a friend of mine created our own, like maybe 4 or 5 different words, which created a dynamic in the language, right? We created this one word that was called Zeke, right? It sounds like somebody's name, but when something was silly or it didn't make any sense to us, or um, whatever it was that was in that realm, right, of weird, silly, goofy, something stupid, whatever, we would say, "Oh man, that's Zeke." And you could say that around people and they would just look and be like, "What?" But us collectively, we had an understanding. I mean, you could isolate yourself and have that understanding on your own. It wouldn't be as fun, I guess. But that's literally what we did. We made that word mean that, so that when we were around people, if we said something like that, it didn't affect them. Because when you don't understand something, it really barely affects you. You could probably think like, "Oh, my intuition's telling me they're talking about me." But if you have a, say, um, Hispanic person that's speaking Spanish in front of you and they're literally talking about you, unless they're like pointing at you and laughing and saying stuff, even then you have no idea. It really doesn't affect you. It really doesn't affect you. You have no idea what they're saying. That's how powerful language is, y'all. That's how powerful this word failure is. You agree. You agree upon what it means to you, as far as this embarrassing feeling, this shameful feeling, this feeling of unworthiness, right? Let it go. Totally let it go, because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. You could totally stop using that word completely in your life. Completely. We could drop it all the way off and never use it again. One word that for a while, it was probably like in the 90s, the word crucial was a thing, and it was like a slang term, to where it was like, "Oh, that's crucial." It was like, it was a uh, that's cool, or that's hot, or that's fresh. That was, for a hot second, people were saying that, "Oh, that's crucial, man. That is crucial." But now nobody uses it. It's probably too much on the tongue. Who knows why why we decide to use particular words or not? But um, really dive into that, y'all, because I want to build your confidence. That's what I want to do. Um, I want to help you to gain more um, risk in your life with this time that you have here, to be a little edgy, and when you eliminate failure out of your vocabulary, that helps you to go in that direction. Because if you're like, "Yo, I'm just learning," there's nothing that can stop you. There's a song that I created, I don't know, some years ago, called I Can't Lose, right? And it's on my YouTube channel. If you go to Kevin Anytime, you'll see it on my YouTube channel. It's called I Can't Lose. And the meaning behind that was simply that there isn't any such thing as losing to me. It's all learning. Everything's learning. Even when I lose in basketball games, I'm like, okay, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? What could I do better? It's all learning to me. It's all learning to me. I can't lose. That was the idea behind it, and I had got it actually originally from one of Michael Jordan's quotes, because he said, I don't feel like I've ever lost a game. I just ran out of time. And I was like, whoa, that to grab on to that idea, to that concept, can make you a very powerful person. It just can. Eliminating the idea of, oh, I'm going to fail, or, oh, I could fail, or there's a possibility of failure. Eliminating that and just saying, well, I'm going to learn through this. Let's see how it goes, can drastically change your whole identity. It could totally, totally create a monster of of you, right? It could create this bulldozer of, I'm going to figure anything out that I want to figure out inside of you. And that is something that we have lost in life as humans. This fearlessness, this boldness, this being able to champion challenges with just a voracious want for better, right? That's something that we really, really, really should think about, because are we getting too soft, y'all? I mean, with all of these things that we have access to, the technology, the ease of everything, the warming up the food and everything, it's doing something to us, that we are getting smarter, but are we getting more fearful? We're more fearful of, germs and stuff like that now than we are of bears, man. I mean, I don't know, probably not, but I'm just saying, like, it is it's starting to create this weird, I'm not gonna say weird, it's starting to create these fears inside of people that I don't think were a thing in the past, and we were a little stronger in our will with those mentalities in the past. And so I think our will has been diminished a bit. And so we just need to work on strengthening that. And we can do that. We can do that. And it doesn't have to be, going out there and hunting and nothing like that. It's literally analyzing the things that we're saying, the words that we're using, how we're communicating. And yeah, failure is a big one for me. I rarely ever use it. I rarely ever use it when I think about it. And even as a joke, like, I rarely ever use it when I think about it in my everyday vocabulary. It doesn't exist to me, really. So this is to help anyone that may be using that, like, oh, you failed, or, oh, that was such a fail. Like, don't even joke it. Don't even say it anymore as a joke. Just totally abandon it. Totally drop it off. And just be like, oh man, that was a great learning experience, or wow, that was good practice. And just leave it at that. And really always dive back into the thought of, what did I learn here? What am I supposed to learn? What was this teaching me? Because that can really, really help you to explode yourself forward into whatever you're trying to do. The fear and failure of fear and all of that stuff, man, it's not for us, y'all. It's not for us. That's not the way that we should be thinking. And whenever that word, I'm gonna look up that word and see when it actually came out. Like, how you can look up a word and they'll tell you kind of when it actually was started and generated and stuff like that. And because that's a very interesting thing, is when did that word all of a sudden manifest itself into existence? Like, how did somebody think about that word and start saying it? From the old medieval times until now, like, was that something that they used? You goeth and faileth. Who knows? I don't know, but it doesn't it just doesn't resonate with me, and I don't think we should use it anymore. I don't think it's a useful word. So I'm trying to help you just to see, in my joking manner, to eliminate it, and based off of different things that I've said here, as far as us creating our own language and all of this stuff. It's up to you. It's up to you to really think about that and really dive into that and say, you know what, am I going to use that word anymore? Because it could have a hardcore definition to me that may not be beneficial, that might not be helping me, you know? Um, but yeah, so I'm looking at it, and it says mid 17th century. That's when it came out. So, what is that? Just like maybe 3,000 years ago, something like that. uh we just all of a sudden decided to start using it, and looking at the timeline, which is very, very interesting. Oh man, this is interesting. I'm looking at the timeline of when it was mentioned, and in the 1800s, it's the graph is very low, but it's funny, as we progressed into the 1900s to the 1950s, it climbed up exponentially all the way up until like 2019. It's huge. The graph got extra large. Huh. So what does that mean for us, y'all? Failure is defined as a lack of success or the inability to meet an expectation. See, now that's a false statement right there. That's a false statement. You cannot fail. You cannot fail. You do not have a inability to meet an expectation. I don't believe that. I simply don't believe that. I believe you're capable of anything you set your mind to. That is what I profess. That is what I preach. That is what I believe. That's how I conduct myself. So the inability to meet an expectation is a total false, I don't know, it's a false word. It's a false narrative. It doesn't make any sense. A lack of success or the inability to meet an expectation. The inability to meet an expectation is what I believe people grab onto, to the highest form of that scarcity mindset. It's like, oh no, I don't want to feel that. I don't want to showcase the inability to meet an expectation. It's like, what? Why not? Why not? Because that's how we learn. That is how everything works. I've said this multiple times. Riding a bike, to walking, to all of that stuff. That is how everything goes. Nobody makes the first jump, Neo. All right? Nobody makes the first jump. This is how it goes. This is how we learn. It's how we progress through life. Attempts and the learning through the attempts. That's it. That's it. Making an attempt and waiting for the success to reveal itself. Jump into life like that. All right? I want you to attack life like that going forward. But yeah, I'm not going to go too crazy, y'all. This was just an interesting thing on my head today, as I was going through it. And no, do I like missing shots? No, I don't. I don't really enjoy the process, but I know it's necessary. And so I work through it. And so don't be afraid to miss shots, y'all. All right? Don't be afraid to miss shots. Go into it. It's necessary. It's necessary. It's automatic. It's an automatic process that we go through. It's how we learn. And if you just think about it as, yo, I'm just learning here. Okay, hey, what am I going to learn here? No failure mindset. No, none of that scarcity type of thinking. Just go into it and be like, yeah, I'm gonna learn a bunch of stuff here. You'll feel way better going into it. Okay, you'll eliminate the idea of being embarrassed and all of the goofy external insecurity stuff that we all deal with. You know, nobody's exempt from that. So yeah, just really, really consider that. Really consider this new way of thinking and drop that word off. Just drop it, man. Best you can. That's part of this development stuff. And maybe I did at some point after all the development, just stop using it. I was like, it wasn't serving me. So that was part of my growth, my development that I decided to go into. So, all right. Well, good talk. Good talk, guys. Thank you for being here. Really, really, really appreciate you guys. Thank you for listening. Shoot me some comments, shoot me an idea, shoot me what you think about that. And if you use failure or anything like that in your vocabulary. But yeah, mindset matters, y'all. I'm telling you, mindset matters more than anything else. All right. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed, y'all, if you want to hear some great topics like these again. And, like this, if you like this video, please share it with somebody too. If you think they need to hear this, if they use the word fail way too much and it's irritating to you, you can send them this video too. But yeah, love you guys very, very much. Anytime out.